So we'll continue with the tour of the Android Studio. Let's look at the Gradle scripts now. It has this build.gradle file. Gradle performs the automated build process which we saw happening when we started a new project or when we will run the application. Now in this process, the Gradle builds all the libraries and packages required to make an Android project. As the name mentions here, this build.gradle project_name file contains specific project level information like the version of Android Studio, version of Kotlin, etc. In this file, we will only need to concern ourselves with the version of Android Studio and the version of Kotlin given here. Also, you need to remember that Google and JCenter are the places where the repositories are placed. What repositories, you may think? We'll answer that question in just a minute. For now, we need not make any changes to it. Also, we will not concern ourselves with the task clean part. Next, we have this build.gradle module app. This is also a build file and it takes care of the things that will be present in the app. Let's look at some important things inside this file now. So, we will not make any changes to the plugins. Next is the compile SDK version, which specifies the version of SDK we are using to compile our app. Generally, it is set to the latest stable version of Android present or the one just below it. You can refer to the versions of SDK and names of Android from the table present in this link. See if you can learn the API levels of one or two latest versions. You never know, we may quiz you on it later. This link has also been given in the helper text below. The next thing we need to see here is this application ID, which has the unique package name that we had given. This application ID can be used to find the app on Play Store. Next up, we have the minimum SDK version mentioned here, which is the minimum version of Android on which our app will run. So here we have the minimum SDK version as 18, which means that our app will run till Jelly Bean and will not run on app versions older than that. Next, we have the version code, which has the version of app that we will change when we make changes to the app after uploading it on Play Store. The version number here is an integer, and we will increment it by 1 for every new version of Android. Next, we have the version name, which is the version of the app that we see when we download or update our apps from Play Store. This is a string and can be something like 1.0, 1.1, 1.12, 1.2.24, etc. Next, we have the test instrumentation runner and the build types block, which is beyond the scope of this training and we will not make any changes to it. Next, we have the dependencies here, which are the external libraries which are required for a project. The ones present here are the default ones which Android Studio automatically adds. We will also add some dependencies here later in the training and will learn their function then. Now all these dependencies are given here in the form of links. The files corresponding to these links are present in the Google and JCenter repositories which we spoke of earlier. So that was all about the different folders, directories and files present inside the Project Explorer. Now, we know that all these terms we mentioned are new to you and it must have been overwhelming, but you are not expected to remember all of them by heart. The whole purpose of giving this tour was to familiarize you with the environment of the Android Studio and its various files and folders. We will look at some of these again when we will need to work with them. So, we will touch some concepts as and when required. A few files and folders that are important to us and that we will be using are androidmanifest.xml, com.android.activity-lifecycle inside the Java folder, the drawable, layout, mipmap and values files inside the res folder, and the build.gradle module app file. So that was all about the tour of the Android Studio. In the next video, we will work with the main activity.kt file.